Hello, it's your sleepless scout again, back with What If Percy Was Trained by Persephone and Hades, Part 4. Yes. Uh, Last time we left off, we talked about Percy getting to Camp Half Blood, him talking to Chiron about uh, his and Nico's wardship. He's basically a ward of Nico Danger. He takes care of him, so there's some rules to this. Even the gods can't, break because it was made by a god technically. Uh, Capture flags, him getting his first vision, him saying that I need to talk to the oracle, but Chiron obviously saying no, you cannot. Uh, Him talking to Annabeth and Luke. Luke getting incredibly angry, it seems like, but is trying to like almost hide it in a way where he's trying to put it into his just chest and let it burn, but Talia just lets it loose, just breaks something and just says, "This is over with." Uh, that's kind of what we left off last time. Let's start the video as we see Percy in his bed, not sleeping but just laying. You see as well that the seas outside are very hectic. Outside there's a little like kind of riverside where the lake is, and it's stirring with Percy's thought as Nico is right below him, not sleeping as well. As Nico's like, "Percy? Yes, Nico? Are you angry at me?" As he jumps off the bed, grabbing his necklace and his pen, getting ready almost in a sense. It's roughly 5 o'clock. Capture that flag doesn't start for another 3 to 4 hours. But he's getting ready. I can't be angry at you, kid. I don't think I could ever be really truly angry at you, as as Nico looks at him and just says, "What? Why is that? Like, my sister gets angry at me all the time. Why?" He says, and he flicks him on the forehead and says, "Because you are me, basically. I wanted to be like you, exactly like you. A nerd? Like, I love card games. Like, you're physically." He's like, "You're a kid. You let you live your life. I did not. And I don't want you to think that because I'm cool and all that kind of stuff that I'm not, in a sense of the word, broken." As he smiles at Nico, "I want you to know this. From a young age, I fought hellhounds, I fought minotaurs, and I was trained by the best soldiers in the world. But I never had a kid. I never had a childhood, to say the least. I was born to be a soldier. I was trained to sacrifice myself and myself mostly." So, as he grabs Nico by the cheek with one of his hands, that is now getting slowly armored up as he's putting on his equipment, mostly his chest plate and his shield, technically on the back. He says, "So, you are what I wanted to be, okay? So I can't be angry at you. I never could." As Nico him gets ready for capture the flags, as every camper starts waking up, they start eating breakfast as capture flags is going to release. As uh, both Talia and Luke are team captains. Talia is the offensive, Luke is the defensive. But Luke has a trust in Percy to be a secondary team captain. So that's when Percy walks up to him and said, "Luke, I have an idea. instead of Luke asking about it, Luke says, "Go for it." As Percy says, "What? What do you mean? Go for it? Like you want?" It's like, "Go for it. I trust you. You're a good person. I don't think you would sacrifice anything, especially because we're proving ourselves in this situation. Uh, try it. If it, I think it's going to be successful." As Talia doesn't hear this because she's offensive. This might, mess up. Don't try to mess up any of our plans. But if it grows into it and it makes it successful, go for it. As he also grabs Nico and pushes him up, and he says, "Put him in the front lines, please." And this is Talia, and he's like, "I don't put him in the front, particularly against his sister. Make him rush and try to grab the flags, okay? Make him a distraction almost." As Nico said, "I'm not a distraction." He's like, "Don't worry about it." As rubs his head, puts the helmet onto his. He says, "Don't worry about it. Just rush to your sister, and then try to cut the bow in half." With his sword in his hand, he's like, "I don't want to hurt her." He says, "Don't hurt her. Just do what we practice. Simple cuts." He nods his, "Got it." As you hear Chiron says, "Okay, everyone get ready." As Percy starts backing up, putting his hands into the dirt itself, as everyone starts getting ready. As the contract blows, as everyone starts going, as vines start spreading around the thing, as it doesn't block off the areas where the Camp Half-Blood has to go, but it blocks off some of the arrows and all that stuff. As you see, like Nico slicing one of the bows in half, as she's like, "I didn't even see him," as he keeps on rushing to the flag area, as one of the couple of the team get hit by a massive smoke pellet, but you see the vines spread with these kind of flowers and start sucking in that smoke and start sucking it in, as King Half-Blood is like, "Let's go," as Talia hits the ground with this massive electrocution, as she spreads it out, and you see a couple of the hunters get electrocuted and fall over like they got tased. She keeps on rushing forward, keep on moving. You see an arrow sling past her head as she knocks it over to the side, as you see her against Zoe. Zoe swings her, shoots off a bow, as she pulls out Aegis, blocking it with a single arrow. As Nico blasts by her, keeps on rushing, as you see Luke cut. You see two of the hunter's bow gets cut in half, as he smiles at him as another arrow crosses by, as he slashes a little bit of his cheek, and he says, "These arrows are not coming any better. Percy, if you have your ideas, is it quick?" As Percy smiles, "It's already been done, Luke. Don't worry about it." As he snaps his fingers, as you see the water from the ground, from the ocean itself, used to be there. It's like, what? As it spreads, as it blasts out, launching most of the hunters back, as you see a wave hit it. As we go back to the front lines, as you see Nico rushing with Talia, as Talia's using a little bit of her flying ability in this sense, still afraid of heights, but using it every time she takes a step, she flies a little bit forward. When she's up in the air, she's using the air current and her flying ability to prove herself faster, and then it keeps on going, knocking off both, as she gets captured by Zoe and two other hunters, as she grabs Nico and chucks him. He says, "Go, Nico, go!" As Nico is rushing, you see the vines protecting him through the arrows, as he cuts one bow, two bows, as he sees his sister, as he sees her notch an arrow, as hears the voice of Percy in his head. Just rush at her. She won't fire. as she jumps over one of the vines and rushes at her as he she wants to fire. Seeing Nico as cut. Too late. Nico cuts for the bow as she's rushing forward. Sorry, he's rushing forward. Nico's rushing forward, and he's supposed to make it to the flag. It's not there. As we go back, right when the beginning of the match starts. Right when the conch blow. Boom. Stop time. He dropped through a hole. Went roughly where the flag is. Grabbed it. Went back without anyone noticing he did it. And put it on. Restart time. As you hear, surprisingly, another conch horn as he says, Camp Hatflood, for the first time ever, as the hunters are shocked. One! As you see some of the hunters, like, wet and, like, drenched, as you see Zoe's, like looking up at the, Camp Half-Blood's, where the Camp Half-Blood flag is, and she's right there. As you see Percy smiling. As you see, Zoe, like, what did you do? You couldn't have won. No one saw you. As he says, but I did. Both flags are in my presence. Camp Half-Blood won. As he gets up out of the rocks and rubble, as you see, like, Zoe, like, notch an arrow and puts it to his face. As you see a bunch of the Camp Half-Bloods put, like, swords up to Zoe's neck, as a bunch of the other campers put arrows up to theirs. As everyone's kind of tense, as you see Talia walk up and Talia say, everyone stand down, as Aegis pops up. And people start backing away. Not out of, sort of out of fear, but out of, like, reverence a little bit more. As Zoe, like, unnotches her arrow and puts it away, as she looks at Talia and she says, obviously he had to cheat in some way. He couldn't have. It says, we won fair and square. Chiron, did you find anything cheating? No, I did not. Chiron didn't find anything, and Mr. D didn't find anything cheating. An actual god. There couldn't be any cheating. And I trust Percy to do what he needs to do. And he won for us. As Zoe looks at Percy, he says, if you're not a cheater, you would like to explain what you did. As Percy says, do not have to explain to anyone what I just did. It was a simple strategy. I did it well. I did it successfully. But if you really want to do, I used the holes. There's here too? It says there's holes all around the world. I can make it to Texas, Massachusetts, and New York in a simple hole with just using one hole spring. They're all over. As Zoe backs up, almost like remembering it, she's like, I guess that makes sense. As Percy's like, looks over at Nico and smiles, gives him a little bit of thumbs up, as Nico gives a thumbs up back, like, yeah, I did that. That was awesome. And then right when this moment ends, he hears, as you hear almost an croak, as you see the prophet, the oracle, walking up, as Percy's like, is this for me? But he walks up to Zoe. As green smoke comes out of her mouth, as the prophet has also changed. You have to understand, it's different. But this thing goes like this. you will be mated by the father that hates, and in the field of sand, one will sacrifice everything he loves, and will be grown to become a phoenix rising from the ashes, and you will have to control and your urges of pain, and one will fall in love with the hero, and another distrust at the beginning will trust at the end. As the prophet's over, as it says one last words, the goddess is on the person's least place to go. The place, as the green mist starting to disappear now, as she's trying to say as she can, the place where the story began. As the green mist disappears, as Zoe's like, as everyone heard this, as Percy's trying to like detail the work, trying to like understand it, as she's trying to like put it through his brain, as Zoe seems like she already got it. As she looks over to Chiron, he says, I am setting off. As this is where we're going to end off the video. I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you guys all later. Goodbye.